Welcome to the Brand Doctor Podcast, strategies that help entrepreneurs build reputable and profitable brands. Here's your host, Henry Kaminski Jr.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Henry Kaminski here from UniqueDesigns.net with another Brand Doctor Podcast episode for you guys. Guys, we are creeping up on 100 episodes. And it's going to be here before you know it. I cannot believe that I've done this many podcasts already, but that's what happens. When you find something you really like to do, it doesn't become a job anymore. It doesn't become a task. It's something that you look forward to. And so I just appreciate all you guys for, all the support and just being avid listeners and repeat listeners, and it's really fueling the fire for this particular show. So let's get into it today, guys. It's been a long holiday stretch here. It's a week has felt like 5 months. I don't know about you guys, but I love my routine, and when I'm out of routine, I feel like I'm lost. But anyway, it is January 2nd, first day back in the full swing of things for the new year, and just super excited to be here. So let's get into it. Today I want to talk about, and this week I'm going to be showcasing some personal brands of some very, very, very powerful, successful, and influential people in their industry. And you guys know that I'm a huge hip hop fan. And it was so funny when I first found out about this guy and how he was behind huge records and worked with many of my favorite artists. I was like, I need to know more about this guy. And so it just so happened in the Tools for Titans book from Tim Ferriss, Tim actually showcased this guy, and he came out. They had talked about a few things that I want to touch base on that I really agree with, and I think it's very, very powerful stuff if you can implement this stuff in your own life and in your own brand. And so the guy that I want to showcase today is a guy by the name of Rick Rubin. A lot of you guys may know who he is. Maybe not. But Rick Rubin is behind some of the biggest names in the music industry, from Johnny Cash to Jay-Z to LL Cool J, Kanye West, Sheryl Crow, Adele, Shakira, Lana Del Rey, Lady Gaga. He's worked with all of these huge names, and he's the one that produces the magic behind it all. And he has some key sort of fundamentals that he lives by that I want to share with you that I thought was very, very powerful. And the first one is, in the book they mentioned, the best art divides the audience. And he talks about how when they signed that crazy metal group Slayer, he was afraid that they were going to sell out and go mainstream. And one of the things that he told them was, you guys are super, super raw, and you guys are going to make it to the top if you stay there. Yes, that's going to piss some people off. Yes, you're not going to appease the masses. But I can promise you, if you stay true to your work and your passion for music, you are going to win. And I'm a firm believer of the best art divides the audience. When I was developing and rebranding Unique Designz early last year, I realized that some of the changes that I'm going to make are going to piss some people off. Listen, I have a tendency to use foul language here and there. And I'm not going to apologize for it. I am not this clean, polished guy. I'm just not. There's a time and a place to be polished and professional and all of those good things. But in the everyday and the day to day, I'm just a normal dude that does normal things. And sometimes it's just not polished. And sometimes it's just kind of rough around the edges. And you know what? That's who I am. And I'm not going to apologize for it. And some of that comes out in my emails. Some of that comes out in my Facebook Lives and my Instagram posts. So be it. That's going to piss some people off. But at the end of the day, that's who I am. And so the dividing factor there is just being true to myself and knowing that you're not going to be able to please everyone. So I want you guys to hammer that into your nervous system in 2018 and start to get really comfortable with yourself, because that's what matters the most. All right. So the next thing that he talks about is, Tim asks him, it's funny, what kind of advice would you give to your younger self? And he says, I would be kinder to myself. Because I am my worst critic, and I typically beat myself up. And Tim actually agreed with him. He says, I struggle with this a lot because, when I sort of go easy on myself, I feel like I'm not pushing myself to my full potential. And I agree with that. And that resonates with me on so many different levels. And it probably does for you as well, where, when you stop pushing the envelope, right? When you stop, demanding the best out of yourself, you feel like you're not working at on all cylinders. And I struggle with that a lot myself. But one of the things I realized after going to, having a mindset coach in my life is that doesn't do any good to beat the hell out of yourself for, not maybe achieving a goal that you set out to do, or just what do they call it? It's like you destroy your inner confidence by talking negatively, to yourself. And that's not going to help you get to the next level. It's not. And I'm not trying to tell you to sugarcoat things or fluff things up or, I'm not saying any of that. What I'm saying is understand that whatever you set out to do, you may not have accomplished it the way you wanted it to be accomplished, or you just dropped the damn ball. Get over it. Just get over it and move on. Like, you can't beat yourself up over things because you're just never going to get ahead. You got to say, okay, drop the ball, screwed up. Tomorrow's another day. Let's not make the same mistake we made today and move forward. That's how you grow. You're not going to grow by saying, oh, God, I'm such a worthless piece of shit because I dropped the ball on that client, or I said that I was going to do this and I didn't do this. I promised myself I was going to, watch my weight, and, now I'm overweight and I just can't lose weight. And dude, chill. It's going to be okay. How do we make tomorrow easier? Right? That's what we got to think about. Okay? And just don't be so hard on yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. All right, so I think I hammered home the message on that point, but the last point that he mentioned is to learn from the greats and not your competition. And I think that plays along with the best art divides the audience as well. Why? Because success leaves clues. A lot of my clients, my Branding on Demand clients, my Brand Accelerator clients hear me say this a lot. And it truly is the way to exponentially grow your brand faster and more efficiently, is to focus on the greats. Don't just focus on the competition. The competition is just sort of skating by, if you will, right? The competition is just sort of doing what everybody else is doing. You know, they're looking at their competition and saying, oh, we're going to undercut them by X price, or we're just going to do it a little bit better than them, right? And try to get ahead that way. That's not going to really get you far at all. You know, I'm going to share with you a crazy story, but I used to have these terrible dreams of planes falling out of the sky, like crashing. But the weird thing about the dream was that I would never see the plane actually make impact. I would see the plane coming out of the sky and like heading towards the ground, but I never saw the plane crash. I would always wake up prior to it. And so I woke up like in a panic and a sweat one night, like 3 a.m, and I was like, this is like the 5th time this happened. I need to figure out what does this mean? So I Googled it, and believe it or not, when I typed in dreams of planes crashing, it was crazy what Google told me. And there was multiple blog posts and multiple articles on this, but it was, when you have dreams like that, it actually means that you're setting goals for yourself that are so high and unrealistic that that's what's triggering these actual dreams. And the way I was doing that was simply looking at the greats in my industry, you know, and the greats out there in entrepreneur world, like Tony Robbins, like Gary Vaynerchuk, like Lewis Howes, like Grant Cardone, you know, like these big names. And I would say, all right, well, look at what they're doing. Let's just do it. And I picked up so many little nuances from all of these guys and began implementing them, which completely leveled up my game as an entrepreneur. You know, and that's a show for that's a show for another day, but really submerging yourself into looking and studying the greats. I was watching a Tony Robbins TED Talk the other day from 2006. And man, he was he was powerful then with his messaging, but it was great to see how he delivered that message. And I noticed how the little things like including the audience in on the talk, where most TED Talks, it's the speaker is talking at the audience, where Tony Robbins had people engaged and the people were laughing and man, really getting into the talk. And so things like that, studying the greats and understanding the little nuances that make them tick, that make them amazing, and applying that to your branding, that's the game changer, guys. That's what's going to sort of outwork your competition, because they're not looking that big. They're just looking at what you're doing and trying to make it a little bit better, where you're looking at big moves. And so I'll wrap it up with that. But learning from the greats, not your competition. Understanding that the best art or the best brand divides the audience straight down the middle. They're not trying to appease everyone. A lot of you guys heard me talk about that before. But understanding that and owning that, you're going to win. And last but not least, don't be so damn hard on yourself. It's not that big of a deal. It's not. Get over it, move on, because the energy you spend on trying to beat yourself up and teach yourself a lesson is not the energy that's going to help build your brand. The energy that's going to help you build your brand is the positive energy that you put into your heart, your mind, your body, the actual things that you execute on, your actions. That's what's going to help you build a powerful brand. So have an awesome day, guys. I hope you got some value out of this. If you haven't shared this podcast yet with a friend or colleague, please do so. If you haven't joined the Facebook group, the Brand Doctors Hangout, go over to Facebook right now. Go into the search query, type in the Brand Doctors Hangout. Come join me and a few other 100 entrepreneurs, and let's all work together for 2018 to make your brand a stronger, more powerful impact in your community and in your industry. Talk to you soon, guys.
You've been listening to the Brand Doctor Podcast with Henry Kaminski Jr. To get your appointment with the doctor, visit Brand Audit at www.uniquedesignz.net.